Ladies and gentlemen, will you please put your hands together for Panama Judas?
Where you from is where you at, and if you can't break a leak, better bring your hat. Snook 'em. East coast, west coast, down south, represent your coast. Yeah, we running, y'all don't want it, 'cause my folks running. Oh, we run this shit, we run this shit, we run this shit, we run this shit. Oh, we run this shit, we run this shit, we run this shit, we run this shit. Pull my head.
You alright? Yeah? The last thing anyone, including myself, thought I would ever sit down on my chair to would be anything to do with Missy Elliott, I guess. In fact, the last thing I ever thought would randomly come on in a 3 gigabyte collection of liquid drum and bass that I would actually enjoy and not skip straight past would be something that features the dulcet tones of Missy Elliott, but I suppose no, I'm wrong. So one of those do we just start it off and delete it before it begins moments. But we'll go for it. Interesting day yesterday. Lots of conversation that kind of, in the nature of the beast, didn't really go anywhere until today, and obviously that's when things kind of start to make sense. But labels and how they are a certified way of fucking your shit up in all sorts of things. I mean, maybe labeling boxes so you know what's in them, that is that's okay, but that should be probably the limits of labels. Maybe clothing, so you know what size it is. Save time trying things on if you're confident that the little slave children make the same size depending on what part of the world they're being whipped in. So labels, and the easiest way to do this is to use the kind of more familiar concept of a relationship between man and woman, woman and woman, or man and man, and look at the progression in which the relationship takes and the labels that are formed as we move along the line. So there is the initial kind of meeting of the no touching, eye starey, let's impress the other one, and providing that both individuals pass that, they move into the physical interaction stage, and then they form a relationship if that goes well, traditionally, of course. And at this point, this is when like the majority of the kind of labels are attached, which basically speak of exclusivity. They speak of just the ground rules, aren't they, really, of what you do, which is fine. And then we go through this stage and this stage and this stage, and then everything kind of moves on and progresses. And then should everything be really, really lovely, you know, it's very common for people to decide to get married. Now, this is the point at which two human beings both agree, or one of them decides and the other one succumbs to the concept that throughout their entire life, they are not going to reach a point where they become unhappy with the other. And if they are willing to struggle through their unhappiness because of the levels of elation that they feel at the given time when they agree to what is essentially a fucking ridiculous idea. So they do. and or maybe they have kids. Maybe they decide that that a kid is the move forward. I mean, I know children can be used as traps, which is an horrible concept, but they can. But the same thing of like kind of signing that piece of paper that means nothing, or even worse is creating a child that's because mum and dad are going to stay together and watch this child grow. Now, this is fine, and this is how society has functioned. But I think over the last 3 weeks, I have met a lot of people who are massively disjointed from who they should be, in my opinion, unless they were put on this planet to be fucking miserable. But that doesn't make any sense. So, we have, and obviously I'm very cautious of kind of delving into details because I suppose it doesn't matter because no one's going to know who you are, but it's uncomfortable to listen to your life being explained as a fucking mess. so I won't. But, we end up with people who make the decision that they're going to be happy with one person forever, and quite naturally, it's ridiculous because as individuals we develop and we evolve within ourselves, and the chance of doing that alongside in perfect synchronicity as another person is so minute that the chances of you getting from A to B with one person without experience the overwhelming desire to get the fuck away from that person it seems strange. And then we attach the label love, and then obviously people come back at me and say, yeah, but if you love someone you work through those times. So then love is another way of saying suppressing who you are as an individual, because I'm sure that's not part of the deal. So these labels that keep being introduced, we label these things as relationships, as exclusivity. It's essentially possession. We had a bit of a weird one yesterday. Is it possession? Is it ownership? But essentially, yeah, if you are dating someone and you are monogamous with that person, then you have ownership of them. They cannot go out and do the things that they enjoy doing with other people whilst you're with them, because you are the one person that gets to do those things. So like it or lump it, it's ownership. But here we attach a label, and everybody disagrees. It's not ownership. We're free to experience ourselves, but label. Even so, this kind of delves into, and I think I've touched on it before, the feelings, the thoughts and feelings. We experience, our bodies react to things, and then we attach a label. Oh, I'm sad. That must be sad. Like, I want to cry, so I'm sad. Despite the fact that that same sensation that we connote to sadness could be like fear, or to some degree like kind of joy, or some form of like realization, some coming of truth. Same thing with excitement. We feel like full, you get the twist in the stomach and stuff, and like everything feels like shaky, but like that's also pretty much the same as terrified. So these feeling responses are, a lot of them are quite similar, but we take kind of like our previous experience of them to attach these labels. But what if we make them what we decide them to be? So that feeling, when, let's say for example, I don't know, say you've broken up with someone, or they've broken up with you, and my God, do you want them back? And it's been a week and you're almost ready to hang yourself, and you're walking down the street and you see them walking towards you, like having a whale of a time with someone else. He looks better than you, or she looks better than you, and they're so happy, and you never really had that, but my God, did you want it? And at that point, I would imagine something not too dissimilar to lumpy McLumpy throat, twisty McButterfly tummy, weaky McLegs, just almost like just in a weird way. And naturally we take the experience in the situation, and we see that as kind of like a massive feeling of like jealousy and loss, and we attach this misery. And if there was one time to go and find the railway bridge, now is that moment. But how about, that is just because we attach that. How about seeing something like that and seeing someone move on is also viewing your own freedom? And experiencing the concept of freedom, experiencing the fact that you are free to do as you wish, is fucking terrifying. Like, I've been unemployed for all of 3-4 days, and there's a reason I've been drinking a fair bit. That's because it's something that I can just put in there to some consistency, because I wake up every morning, I can do what I want. I can literally do whatever I want within the realms of human possibilities, which, being a beast that I am, I can generally push quite well. So yeah, so the whole kind of wrap up is just that, just think, or essentially don't think, that the messes we get into, I think, are because essentially we label them as messes, and maybe they're not messes. We attach these meanings to everything that we say, and I'm finding it harder and harder to talk about stuff now, because truthfully, the only time I really feel honest, and the only time I feel I'm really expressing myself, is when I shut the fuck up. That for me is the only time I can honestly say that I'm not making a hash of everything I'm trying to put forward. So I hope I kind of got there. Maybe. Maybe not. But I'm not really going to worry too much about it, because it's a weird concept to grasp. I think it's a weird concept. It might be obvious to you. You might just be sitting there and go, yeah, dickhead, what, 31 years to get to this? Like 18, had this shit nailed. But I fucking doubt it, because I'm a smart man. Sometimes. I've done, haven't I? Yeah, I have. Cool. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the sun. Enjoy the sun.